We'd like to welcome everybody out to this brand new episode of Surprise We Both Love Movies. We appreciate everybody who subscribed to us so far here on YouTube as well as on Spotify and on iTunes. We're found in many different places, so you can find the show in the format that you actually enjoy. This week, we're going to be talking about the top 5 movies that get us away from reality. Movies that when we watch them on TV, they keep us glued no matter what and take us away from whatever's going on in the world. So what's your first movie?
All right, my first movie is classic. Man, we haven't compared notes, so
No,
there
we
may
have
be
not.
some overlap,
We have not.
but there might not be. We'll
Yeah.
see. All right, so my first movie is the movie by Penny Marshall called Big. It's just a Tom Hanks movie. He's a kid, and all of a sudden he's transformed to an adult. Takes place in the 80s, and I thought it was a blast. And every time I watch it, it's just a fun story, and it's just a good time. All right.
My first film is Tron Legacy. This is a movie that came out about 10 years ago. It was just about actually when I was getting into voiceover. This movie is a completely different world. It really puts you into the world of Tron. I find this movie to be fascinating. The more I watch it, the more I love it. It has an incredible score. The movie takes you away from reality entirely. You're in this world of Tron, and it's a much better world than what they created back in the 80s. So obviously technology has advanced.
All right, my next movie that I can just escape with is the movie Napoleon Dynamite. For some reason, this quirky little kid from a Texas town who's just trying to figure it out and a little bit offbeat. There's something about that character that's just in that world that was created by that director that just allows me just to totally escape reality and just wonder how this kid is going to make it through life and how he's going to make it through his situation in this movie. And if you haven't seen it, most of us have, but if you haven't seen it and you just want to escape, it's definitely the right movie. It'll definitely put you back into that time frame of being a teenager and not being so certain of yourself, but at the same time, try to be super confident.
Yeah, it is one of those innocent movies. It is a fantastic film. That is one of our family favorites. We all love that movie. And it had Uncle Rico in it. A little interesting fact about the guy who played that character, his name is John Grise. 10 years ago, this month, I actually worked on a movie, a feature film, where I got to hang out with John Grise for the entire day. He's just as funny in real life as he is on screen. He's a very larger-than-life individual. And we had that conversation about how people know him when he's out on the road, out on the street, and they know him as Uncle Rico or Laszlo from the closet. So he knows exactly how old people are by how they address him out and about. All right, the second movie that I have in my list is Major League. I am a baseball fanatic. I love baseball. And I played for many years. It's something I wanted to do for a living. I love baseball, and this is by far my favorite baseball movie. It is so quirky. It is hilarious. No matter when it's on, I will watch it. It is a total getaway from actual reality. It doesn't match real life baseball. It's a cartoon version of baseball, and they do a really good job of making that movie funny. So it is a complete getaway.
My next movie is the movie Friday, starring Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. It is a very funny movie. It takes place in Los Angeles, and it's just two guys that are hanging out and going through a little slice of life of their life. And it's not like almost anyone's life that I personally know, but it's very funny. Chris Tucker was his breakout performance that propelled him to being a huge Hollywood star. And it's just a fun movie. I mean, anytime that one of the lines is, Craig, how'd you get fired on your day off? You stealing boxes, man? That's just funny. I'm sorry. You get fired on your day off is a unique situation. It's a funny movie. I remember I saw it a long time ago at the Dollar Theaters, and it was one of the few movies that it didn't premiere very big. And I went to the Dollar Theaters, and it was packed out. And literally, there was barely any seats. And after I watched that movie, I realized why, because it's just a good time, takes you away from whatever you got going on, and lets you get into the lives of Smokey and Craig. So that's my third pick out of these escape movies. Go ahead, Aaron.
The next movie on my list is the movie Elf.
Good
Elf is a movie that I think everybody's seen at this stage.
Mm.
And I got to tell you, I hated it the first time I saw it.
Really?
Oh, I did not like this movie at all. I did not find it very funny. But over the years, you know, it happened to be on every year and it would come on. And now it's one of our must watch as a family movies every single year.
Wow.
And here's something people didn't know about this movie as well. The head elf in the North Pole is actually the kid Ralphie from A Christmas Story as an adult. And a lot of people don't know that. Elf is another movie that it's a holiday season movie. It's silly. It takes you completely away from the world and reality. And it's kind of heartwarming. It's a good movie. So I enjoy that one.
Yeah. Well, then I'll transition that to my next movie, which is childish and childlike, and that's called Pee-wee's Big Adventure. For whatever reason, maybe it was the age that I was when I saw it. That movie, I just have a special place for that movie. It's entertaining. Even though it's completely silly, it's just a great adventure. I mean, it truly is a big adventure, and it takes you through, you know, all these situations where he's trying to get his bike back, and he's got to go to Hollywood and the Alamo and all these things to track it down. But every moment that you're watching that movie, you're right there with that person. And that's why it qualifies for me as one of the great escape movies, because by the time it's all over and the way that it ends, you just feel like everything's going to be all right. Everything will work out.
All right. The last movie on my list of movies that completely take you away from reality is my favorite out of this list. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. To me, this is the perfect movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This movie takes you away from everything. It's an adventure. It's a lightning in a bottle is what it is. And I mean, Indiana Jones fanatic in general, and I know everything about these movies. I have a very thick making of, it's almost like an encyclopedia of all these movies, and they were never able to recreate what they did in that first film. And I don't want that to take away from the other movies, because the Temple of Doom was the very first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw, and that has a special place in my heart. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is what I consider to be a perfect movie. He is the guy that everybody wishes they could be. And so I find that movie to be just fascinating. If that is ever on, I am stopping what I'm doing, and I am watching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
My last movie, it's kind of a little bit more sentimental, but it's definitely something that allows you to escape. And my last movie is the Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore movie, 51st Dates. That's a great movie. I lived in Hawaii for about 5 years, and I had that experience. So whenever I watch that movie, it always reminds me of what it was like to live there. And it's just, they have a certain on-screen chemistry that's just unique. And that's why they've tried to like recreate it several times in other movies. But it's just a great movie. I mean, anytime there's this Adam Sandler kind of at his peak, and the same thing with Drew Barrymore, and just the way that they're able to interact with each other. She's obviously a person who has a memory loss, and he's somebody who just sees somebody who's really pretty and wants to get to know her. And then they are able to, you know, figure out what that's going to look like, if there's something there, because it's definitely something special, and whether or not, you know, they should try to be together. It's just a great movie. It's just one of those things where you just sit down on the couch and you're going to laugh, take a couple hours and watch it. I promise you'll forget all about whatever else is going on in the world while you're in front of that TV, and you'll have a great experience.
And you know, I've never seen that one. We talked about that. So that'll be interesting. That'll probably be the first out of the ones that you mentioned that I will check out. The last movie on my list is a movie from the 80s that I absolutely love, The Goonies.
Yeah.
This is another one of those totally take you out of reality movies with a great cast, great music. It's just, there's not much that's better than The Goonies. The 80s had the best movies, and this was one of the best. So I think by now everybody's seen Goonies, and if you haven't, shame on you.
Yeah, if you have to show your kids, you know. Actually, funny thing is they just had like a little cast reunion because of
they did.
the pandemic, and they all sat down in front of their Zoom
I watched that
webinar, and they all reconnected. It was interesting to see all of them together again. So if you haven't checked out the movie, check it out first. But if you have, you know, a little nostalgic feeling and you want to see what all these guys look like, you know, 30 years later, find it. It's on. I'm sure it's on YouTube right now, and you can watch it. It's only probably like about 20 minutes, and it was just like having like a little mini like high school or family reunion to see all these guys on screen talking about the good times and all the fun that they had back in the day.
Yeah, it is excellent. It is totally worth checking out. So Those are our lists for the top 5 movies that help us, get out of reality and just take us away, that we'll watch whenever they're on. We're thankful for everybody who's here, and will continue to be here in the future. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. It's going to be, where's my finger? Right? I can't get it there. Right down there, there's going to be a subscribe button. So please subscribe on YouTube. And for those who are listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, please subscribe so you'll get every episode that we do, and you can stay up to date. We're going to continue to do this every week so you guys have new content to listen to. And we're also open to suggestions. So please drop us a line and let us know what you guys think. Once again, I'm Aaron Fisher.
And I'm Lamont Lovejoy.
And until next time.